Hello, it's Scott, Angie, and Barley. As you may have noticed, we've changed our channel name to Toy Haulin Taphouse. We've been building our van and trying to come up with the right name, and it's finally come to us. Recently, we moved from Southern California to Prescott, Arizona. And we've been taking time to actually finish our van and start taking some road trips. Here's a sneak peek of our van. We built it as a toy hauler in the back, and with beer taps in the front. Hence, the Toy Haulin Taphouse. For today, we'll share our first big trip through 19 states. And at the end of the video, we'll share the average miles per gallon in our 2019 Sprinter van with the new 4-cylinder gasoline turbo engine, plus a few other fun facts. If you like what you see, please like us and subscribe. We'll be adding more van life, bikes, and beer content soon.
With one of my sons graduating from Army AIT, our agenda was to get from Arizona to Georgia as quick as possible. So our first night was awesome using the iOverlander app and finding a great off-grid spot outside of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Waking up with cows outside and deer running by was pretty awesome. And of course, checking out a cool brewery along the way. Bombs Away Beer Company. If you ever get near here, check them out. And if you're a veteran, they have a pretty cool pay it forward board for veterans to get a free beer. Veterans. So we drove through Texas and Oklahoma and finally stopping in Memphis, Tennessee. Of course, we couldn't just pass through Memphis. I mean, who can, right? Without going to Beale Street for some barbecue and blues. And not just any blues, but B.B. King, House of Blues. The next day, we pulled into Fort Gordon into Georgia and spent a few days with my son and his wife, relaxing and seeing a little bit of what Army life is like. Oh, and Barley had lots of fun visiting and playing with his cat sibling, Puck. It's always a little sad to say goodbye, but we were also pretty excited to get back out on the road.
Next stop was the River Arts District in North Carolina for more great blues music and beers. We also did an amazing tour at the Biltmore House and rode our mountain bikes around the property, which is beautiful and a tour worth seeing. Our next stop was the Kentucky Bourbon Trail.
Bourbon.
Cocktails. Old fashions. Did you know we owned a bar? Yep. So we kind of like tasting beer, wine, and pretty much any kind of alcohol.
Any kind of alcohol.
Unfortunately, reservations are needed for many distilleries months in advance. So we did our own self-guided tour, stopping at distilleries along the way, then sneaking over to the Kentucky Downs before settling into our campsite along the Ohio River. Next, we headed to Michigan to visit and stay with my family, which is where I'm from. Of course, Barley was spoiled with grandparent attention. Also, if you're from that part of the country, you know what coney dogs are all about. So we had to introduce California Angie to an original coney dog. Well, apparently she was not impressed.
In Michigan, one of my favorite parts of the trip was visiting friends with an alpaca farm and getting up close and personal with these pretty cool creatures and not getting spit on. After Michigan, we moved on to Indianapolis to see friends and eat at St. Elmo's Steakhouse. Yeah, good. Never heard of it, but we were told you have to go there. So we went there to have some of their famous shrimp cocktail. Now this I was a fan of. Coney dogs, but this was pretty cool and yummy. We then ventured off to Missouri and used the Harvest Host app to find a place to stay. Point Labatt Brewery, I'm not sure exactly how to say it, but it was a very cool campsite with fun people to camp with. They had more than one site, like four camping spots. But they also had great beers to enjoy and whiskey. So then after that, we were off to Kansas City. And who knew that Kansas City is actually in 2 different states? Well, learn something new every day because I didn't know. Anyways, we went through both Kansas cities and then found a great campground, Creekside Resort in Hays, Kansas. Now this is a really cool place that's super clean, has lots of amenities, like even a movie theater that people can watch movies outdoors. It was really cool, and not to mention, again, lots of great people to meet.
Our next stop was Colorado. During our trip, we stayed with family, we stayed with friends, used a couple of helpful apps like the iOverlander and Harvest Host to help us find places to sleep in the van. But at this point, it was time to splurge and stay at a resort in Breckenridge, Colorado. Good news, bad news. Our van bed was more comfortable.
Pretty much.
But that's another story. We had some great meals in downtown Breckenridge, like elk, rattlesnake, buffalo, all at the Blue Stag Saloon, as well as their venison meatloaf.
Pretty yummy. It's all pretty yummy.
Yeah. Breckenridge is a cool spot, but use caution when mountain biking in high altitude. Angie almost passed out more than once. Now off to Durango, Colorado, where we used the iOverlander app again and found a nice campground for the next 2 nights. Durango is a cool town with lots of history and a pretty amazing speakeasy that you'll have to get a password to get in. And maybe get a haircut while you wait. Wink, wink.
Last up, a stop at Four Corners, where Colorado, Utah, New Mexico, and Arizona all meet. As a dog, Barley was able to put 4 paws in all 4 states at once, which was pretty cool. Now finally home, back to Arizona, and here's Spreadsheet Scott with lots of fun facts.
Okay, so 5,700 miles, driving 109 hours, over 23 days, through 19 states, with an average of 17 miles per gallon, and 14 nights in the van. Life is good. Subscribe, and we'll see you soon with more fun in the Toy Haulin Taphouse. Cheers! Cheers!
We forgot our red Solo cups. When they got